I used to work for the United States Forest Service out in the Rockies, more of a seasonal gig than a full-time position. My job was to serve in one of those fire lookout towers and, well, look out for fire, among other things. Depending on the time of the year, I would double as a guide and help out with other things, but that was quite rare. Anyway, this was some years ago now. Closest town was probably 40-some miles away, so pretty isolated by all accounts. Even that was basically just a gas station and maybe a bar. Most of the towers were also miles apart. You could sometimes go weeks without seeing another living, breathing human being. It was isolating at best. It drove you crazy. Anyway, this time I remember being talked to by my supervisor. He was giving me a rundown like I hadn't heard it all before. He supplied me with the maps and other supplies, but they were different than last time. There were a ton of areas on the maps that were marked down as unreachable or inaccessible. While I had not explored the entire extent of the region before, I knew that these places should be fine by all accounts. There was certainly nothing wrong with the terrain or atmosphere that would suggest that you could not go there. I was confused, so naturally I brought it up to him. He gave me a sort of a stern look. He then told me that it had always been the case. I told him no, that was definitely not marked like that before. He gave me a sterner look, told me, look, we've had some reports, but don't freak out. I waited for him to continue. He told me that there had been a few missing persons reports since I had last been out there. Around those areas were their last known positions from what they could tell. Rangers coordinated with police, who coordinated with other departments, and searches and investigations were conducted. My supervisor and others were advised that those areas in particular were ecologically fragile. I pressed for what that meant. He just said that things like rock slides and cave-ins were more common there, as well as being home to more dangerous wildlife. I asked about the missing persons cases. He told me that they varied in severity. One dude, a hiker, they only found his backpack at the foot of a cave entrance. It was too unsafe to traverse, so he was just considered dead. Because what sane person would take off their footwear to explore a cave? Another guy, a college kid who was just in the area for a break and looking for some fun. They only found traces of his blood splashed across some rocks. They had no explanation for what caused it and never found any other sign of the guy. My supervisor then apologized for scaring me right before putting me up in a tower in the middle of nowhere. I just laughed and said it was cool. Said I would watch out for anything strange. And off he went. My job had officially started. Probably around a week went by, business as usual. Very boring stuff. Could chat a little to others across the radio, but they weren't exactly a talkative bunch. And, again, miles apart, so no kind of physical contact. Doing roll call in the morning as usual, and we get a heads up that a storm is going to drift into our area. Said it was going to be a heavy one. Meant that we would have to be extra attentive due to the risk of fires caused by lightning strikes. Was going to be a long day. Later on that night, I want to estimate sometime around 10 p.m. or so, pretty late. The storm was in full effect. Not pleasant weather in the slightest. Just my luck. I see lightning hit a tree off in the distance. Uh-oh. I think I see sparks. I think that tree just fucking set on fire. It's in an area marked inaccessible on the map too. Ah, shit. I call that shit in as fast as I possibly can to my supervisor. Other towers confirmed they saw and heard the lightning. Neither of them confirmed that they could see a fire, but the angle of their towers possibly blocked it. It was getting worse by the minute. Big billows of smoke were starting to form. They couldn't see that either. Storm must have been really doing a number on their visibility. Supervisor thanked me for calling it in so quickly. Said it would be handled immediately and to sit tight and wait for further instructions. Start to hear sirens off in the distance and I finally feel a little bit of relief. 5 minutes go by. First vehicle that pulls up is a black SUV. Dude, there is literally a fire. Why are you here first? I swear this place is just backwards. One more minute goes by and I hear a black helicopter flying overhead. By now, 2 agents dressed in leather jackets and Stetsons have hopped out. They're just kinda standing there, watching the smoke plumes. They look like they're just casually chatting. The helicopter is circling and finally, fucking finally, the fire engine shows up. They bring it in close and start spraying shit down. Few hours go by and I guess they've sorted the situation. The smoke plumes will not stop, but I guess that is to be expected. SUV pulls further into the forest and up to where the smoke is coming from. Fire engine fucks off. Chopper circles for a while and then leaves. SUV does not leave for a few more hours. I'm giving my supervisor a play-by-play basically, but he tells me to get some rest right around the time the agents/cops leave. I think he was just tired from hearing me talking. Wake up the next morning. Smoke showing no signs of stopping. Roll call again. I ask the supervisor for a rundown. He tells me it was just a small ignition that is nothing to worry about. Didn't spread very far and was put out and contained very quickly. I asked about the smoke, and he said it was all normal and would clear up soon. I asked why an SUV showed up before a fire engine to a fire. Complete silence. Did not answer me. I asked the question again. He responded something like, "Yeah, none, I think we have some problems with your equipment because your question is a little bit muffled. Don't worry, I will swing by today to sort out something new." Very odd. He did swing by though. Didn't bring me any new equipment though. He told me I was being moved to a new tower. Said I was needed more urgently elsewhere and that this one would be covered, and that under absolutely no circumstances should I go anywhere near where the fire was due to safety concerns. Okay, I guess. I didn't really see the point of protesting. I set up in the new tower pretty much instantly. Was maybe a mile or so out from the fire, but still had a direct line of sight. I saw something weird that night. I'm not sure if I imagined it, but I thought I saw something in the darkness. I only saw a black silhouette, but I thought I saw something flying around and then disappearing into the trees. The silhouette of some kind of bug or fly or insect just flying in a circle and then into the trees where the fire started. It was big, but I couldn't really tell how big due to the distance away from me. I thought it must have just been a hallucination. Stress and staying up at all hours during the fire response must have been finally catching up to me. Next day comes around. The smoke is still billowing like there is still an active fire. I mentioned it during roll call that morning, and my supervisor is just like, "I know, don't worry about it." You could hear in his voice that he was sick of me. Granted, I'm always a bit of a stickler for orders and asking about things like this. I think this was another level for him though. I spent the whole entire day thinking about it. And then I got a terrible idea. That I would go and investigate after check-in. Would have to be just as the light was fading so as not to be spotted by any of the other towers. I figured I would take a flashlight and just dip in and out. Just wanted to see what exactly had happened and the extent of the damage. I just hate the not knowing. The supervisor could have just been straight up with me and I would have shut up. I could not understand why he was being so needlessly cryptic. The time comes, and I sneak out of the tower. I haul ass because I know I can't be out for very long. Anything happens and I am not out there, and my ass is grass. I get there in around 25 minutes. Yeah, I'm a slow fucker even when moving quickly. I am standing right where the SUV and fire truck pulled up. Nothing looks unusual, but I can still see the smoke coming out from somewhere. I walk through the trees. They weren't kidding when they said that the damage was minor and that they stopped the spread quickly. I could not see any fire damage whatsoever. None of the trees looked scorched. No grass on the ground looked to be singed. Everything looked as if nothing had happened. Like there was no fire at all. I decided to follow the smoke to the source. Weirdly, it did not smell like smoke. There was a complete lack of a smell actually, which really creeped me out. I walked for a few minutes, following the trail. I came up to what looked like an entrance to a cave. Whatever it was, there was a hole in some rock with what looked like an entrance. I didn't know there were any cave systems in this specific area. It certainly wasn't marked on any maps. The smoke is coming from it, just coming out in a constant thick stream. Again, it does not smell like smoke or burning or ash. It is completely odorless. I make my way over. I am pretty close, but can barely see into the hole due to the smoke. I have to get right up close and basically peek my head into the hole/cave entrance. I was too scared to at first, but eventually I plucked up the courage. It takes a second for my eyes to adjust and to see past the haze. This is not a fucking cave entrance. It's just a small burrow into some rock. It's only maybe a dozen feet deep, and by deep, I mean horizontally. This is going into the rock rather than a drop. It's not empty either. There are things in there. Look to be maybe 2, maybe 3 of them. They look like oversized bugs. It looks like if you took a dragonfly and supersized it. Not quite human-sized, but enough to maybe be the size of my entire head maybe. The wings were horrifying. Some kind of mix between red and orange in color, but they were tucked away. All of the things were kind of like tucked up and squished together, half folded with the way that they were laying. They looked to be sleeping, luckily for me. They had fucking stingers too. They looked to be about 5 or 6 inches long. This thing must have been a fucking nest. I still don't know what was causing the smoke though. It didn't look like it was coming from the creatures. I felt frozen in place. I saw and processed all of this within maybe 30 seconds. And then one of them opened up its eyes. It had 2 big, red, bug-like eyes, and they opened to look directly at me. The second I saw it, my body jolted, and I started running. I was screaming for my life in the near darkness with only a flashlight to help me. The worst part is, I never heard the thing. Not until I heard a short and quick buzz by my ear, and then a sharp pain in my neck. My body almost instantly locked up, and I fell to the floor mid-stride. I saw this huge monstrosity circle me for a second or 2 before flying back to its nest. I don't know how, but I managed to lift myself to my feet. I practically had to drag my legs across the floor with my hands. I felt woozy. I felt like I was going to pass out. My first thought was that the thing had venom, that I was going to die. I would never make it back. I saw things along the way. I kept thinking I felt things crawling all over me. At one point I saw the entire forest on fire. Saw more of the things chasing me, a whole swarm closing in on me, but I did not have the strength or the energy to run. I felt rain on my skin and heard lightning approaching. The rain was the only real part. I hallucinated the whole way back. I don't know how I made it, but I did. I passed out at the foot of my tower and was out cold. Missed roll call. My supervisor came to check on me, asked me what happened, if I was okay. I told him I felt sick and needed air and passed out. It was the very best that I could come up with on the spot. He helped carry me up and sat me down. The entire tower was a wreck. He even said as much. Looked like someone had come in and turned the place over. All of my notebooks and belongings were rifled through, and my mattress was flipped. That I did not have an explanation for. Supervisor asked me very sternly what I did. All I could think to do was ask him a question. I asked if there were creatures that we did not know about in the Rockies. He told me I should have listened to orders and stayed away. And with that he left me. I basically passed back out. I woke up maybe an hour before roll call in the morning. I checked my neck with a little hand mirror that I had. I had a giant black mark at the side of my neck. It looked to be the size of a penny. It had swelled quite significantly and was painful to the touch. No sign of any blood anywhere. Just pure black. I was in pure agony. I could feel it throbbing and twitching as time passed by. Even so much as a breeze hitting this mark caused me intense physical pain. My supervisor came to talk to me personally that day. Told me due to protocol, and in the interest of the safety of me, the safety of the public, and the safety of the ecology, that he had to let me go. That he could not ignore such a brazen breach of protocol that could have resulted in my own death and unthinkable ecological damage had I not been so lucky. Told me that I was lucky that I was just being fired, and that was all that was happening. That is the last of what he said to me. This happened to me a long time ago now. The wound eventually healed, but the damage was permanent. I have no feeling in the area around my neck, like the nerves no longer work properly. I also did not have access to a camera, so I never got a picture before it healed. I didn't work in the Rockies again after that. I still have no idea what those things were, or what they were doing up there. Hey, Hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. This thread reminded me of my last job. It was a bakery that's been owned by the family for a long ass time. The boss really hated paranormal shit, so we weren't allowed to talk about ghosts or whatever at work. One of the managers had worked there for a long time and was the only person who would talk, mostly in secret, about what goes on there. Be working at this bakery, heard stories from manager, never experienced anything weird myself. I will start with a story that she told me, that I kind of disregarded because I was new and thought I was just being fucked with. Manager comes into work really early to prepare orders and get the bakery spruced up for opening. We open at 7 AM. Is in the back, packaging orders. Hears knocking on the front door. Goes out to tell the person we don't open for a little while longer. Nobody is there. Okay, must have left. Goes to the back and continues packing orders. Knocking on back door, the one that goes into the alley. Must be delivery of supplies. Opens the door. Regular customer standing there. Yeah, I knocked on the front door to see if I can pick up my things early, and a blonde girl pointed to the back door. Manager is the only person there. Confusion ensues. Customer wonders who the new girl is. Never figured it out. That customer still comes in to this day too. And now from my own experiences. Been working at the bakery for a while now. Get close to the managers, and I am slowly working my way up. Allowed to do stuff now that doesn't involve standing at the cash register for 8 hours straight. Loving every minute of it. In the basement checking supplies. Creepy dank 100-plus-year-old building. Start to feel creeped out. Brush it off. Hear things moving around. Surprises me, and I drop my pen. Pen rolls under a shelf. Well, no way I'm getting down on this nasty-ass ground to get a pen back. Standing there, debating whether or not to just go all the way back upstairs to get another pen. Suddenly something hits my shoe. Pen was pushed back out from underneath the shelf. Thanks, ghost. Won't have to make another trip up all those stairs. That was my first experience. I was sort of spooked out, but not enough to run out of the basement hyperventilating. Experiences just got weirder from then on, I guess. In the back, where the bakers create their delicious masterpieces. Bakers already went home, so I'm doing dishes and wiping down workstations. Huge industrial dishwasher, the one I'm not allowed to use. I wash utensils using the regular sink. Turns on. Start spraying water out of a hose thing on the side. Oh shit, I didn't do it. Manager hears the dishwasher and runs back yelling. What the fuck, Anon, you can't use that. I will get in so much trouble with passive-aggressive boss. I didn't touch it, I swear. I don't even know how to work it or turn it off. Manager turns off dishwashing machine and glares at me. Apologized, but I insisted it was not me. That night she watches security footage. Apologizes the next morning. Says could be that the cleaning boys left it on or something, or other. Don't talk about it again. Don't tell boss. Move on with my life. Late in the day, in the back making chocolate dip pretzels. Alone in the back, as usual. Hanging utensils start clanging. Like crazy. Stop. Wash my hands. Stop them from clanging. Hoping it was just the air turning on and making a strong gust of wind. What am I thinking? There is no air conditioning in the back. Continue making pretzels. Keep hearing things. Creaks and rattles. Too spooked to make any sense of it. And another story. Same scenario. In the back making pretzels. See only over blonde coworker walk into the bathroom. Yell from across the room if she's heading out. We share a drawer on the cash register. If she leaves, I gotta count money before I go. No response. I guess it's awkward that I'm yelling to her through the bathroom door. Another 20 minutes pass. Don't see her leave the bathroom. Knock on door. It's slightly open. Lights are off. Nobody is in there. Must have snuck out, I guess. Go to the front and ask if she left already. She wasn't working that day. Nobody else is blonde except for me. Girl that walked into the bathroom was definitely blonde. Officially creeped out by the back of the bakery. One that I experienced with my manager. In the freezer area, doing supplies. Bunch of heavy boxes filled with ingredients, flour, sugar, etc. Huge 40-pound bags of ingredients inside these boxes. Manager is looking over my list to see if we got everything. Suddenly, the box is thrown on the floor. Broke open bag of flour on the floor. Manager and I look at each other and stare. Manager starts kind of laughing. I am still in shock. We go out and smoke a cigarette together. Neither of us know what to tell the boss. Come to think of it, the paranormal shit really brought me and my manager close together. She was like an aunt, I guess. Every other girl hated her, and she hated everyone else, but we got along great. Now for the front of the bakery. Only me and the other blonde girl, we will call her Jay. Working up front, late in the day so it's really slow. Cool girl, I enjoy working with her. Standing at the counter, bullshitting. Suddenly, pie slides off the shelf, lands face down. Huge mass, waste of a pie. Neither of us were near it or the shelf. Both of us ignored the fact that it ever happened. Then, it started happening more often, sometimes with one or two other girls working. Me and Jay start to get spooked. Other girls think we're messing with them. Almost every day, a pie gets pushed off the shelf. Jay and I start keeping a tiny piece of paper in the register, according to the time that it happens. Happens at nearly the same time, every time, around 2:40 to 3 p.m. Manager does not question it. Boss finds her piece of paper in the register. Asks what the paper is all about. Reluctantly tell her what the times written on the paper are for. She tells us, I'm tired of this ghost shit, no more or you are done. Never speak of it again, though the pies continue to fall off the shelf. This is completely irrelevant to the paranormal stuff, but still creepy. Have a group of regulars, come in at least 3 times a month. We call them the circus. Huge older guy, always looks angry, like 7 feet tall, huge. What we assume to be his wife, tiny frail little old lady, wears bright eye makeup, dresses weird, hard to talk to. Sort of like she's constantly dazed. I want to think it's just her age, but the way her husband treats her even in public makes me think otherwise. Tells her to shut up, grabs her, tells her what she can and can't eat. The last guy is completely foreign. Turkish, I don't know, I'm bad with that. I guess lives with them. Always asks the price of every single thing in the store. Buys the same thing every time anyway. They all smell absolutely disgusting, like cat piss and garbage. Drive a tiny little old-fashioned taxi. How do they all fit? Nobody knows who they are or where they are from. One of the girls that worked there had a problem with the big dude. He always creeped her out. Would tell her how beautiful her insert weird body part here is. He eventually started waiting for her to get off work and told her that his son would love her. He brought her gifts, expensive ones, jewelry, that sort of thing. Begged for her, she was 17 at the time, to go out with his son who was in his 30s. She started hiding from them every time we saw that taxi and would run to the back. We told the group that she quit, and yet every time they come in, they always ask about her and wait around for her. Another story. This is more real scary than paranormal. Be 16 years old at the time this happened. Start smoking weed with said best friend and group of friends. Sleeping over at his house. We are gonna smoke tonight. Except we don't have any weed. Call the dealer. He lives like 10 minutes away. It is late at night, like 11:40 p.m. This is during the winter, so it was pitch black. Friend tells me to sneak out and go pick up the weed, and he will order a pizza. I'd do it because I was a fiend and wanted to get blazed. Walking down road. Everything is cool, but it's a bit dark and kind of eerie. Not many streetlights. Finally make it to dealer's house. He tells me to go into his backyard. Walk in. Big ass playground set there. See someone chilling on a swing. Assume it's him. Walk up and say, what's up? This person looks up. Some random ass kid from my Spanish class. Super fucking shady. Say, oh, sup dude, really quietly. He does not answer, just looks back down. Wait around for a bit. The dealer still is not there. Looks back at guy. He's sitting next to a baseball bat. I'm starting to get really nervous. Dealer comes outside, says what's up, and get weed. The whole time, him and the guy kept looking at the bat, really suspiciously. Get weed and dip. Walking back to friend's house, just gotta pass a deli really quick. Said deli has a huge dumpster right next to it. Walk by dumpster and feel someone tap on my shoulder. Jump and turn around. Tall ass guy standing there, hood up. Can't really see his face. Guy says what's up really aggressively. I start to back up. He says, "Where are you going, boy?" Reaches into coat pocket. Flip the fuck out and haul ass back to friend's house. Hear him chase me for a bit and the footsteps finally die out. Flipping his shit like never before. This guy was about to jump me. This area wasn't even that shady. There were some parts that were notorious for being a bit dark, but not this deli area. Pick related is the street that I hauled ass up. Be me, working as a cop. Guy calls us up. Has not seen his neighbor for days on end. It was apparently really unusual for him not to answer the door or the constant calls, since they are really good friends. He only saw the lights going on and off throughout the days/nights. We knocked on his door, looked through the windows, did a welfare check basically. Nobody to be seen, but the lights were on at 7 p.m. We broke his lock and searched his house. No one is there. Officer yells my name. You have to see this. Traces of blood leading from his back door to an old shack in the garden. Mind you, the back door could only be locked from the inside, and it was locked. Homeowner sits dead in his chair. His legs are cut open. The doctor says he sat there for about 3 days. He said that the cause of death was exsanguination, drained of blood basically. Not very spooky, but we neither could explain the lights nor the locked door. Must have been someone else. Same guy from yesterday. Got some more stories. Mind you, most of them are not really spooky, but interesting nonetheless. Be a really young cop at the time. October time. We are on the search for a missing person. White woman, 15, did not come home from school. Rural area. We are searching along a creek. There is a little bridge about 20 meters in front of us. Hear someone crying. Must be her. Find her sitting underneath a bridge. Sitting in the cold water without a jacket on. Won't talk to us. Won't stop crying. Ignores us completely. We get her out of the water and call an ambulance. Other officer takes care of this case. Officer tells me she's in a mental asylum now. Never found her jacket or her other stuff. Never find out what really happened. I really hate those cases that we can't break. I've never told this story before, so excuse me if it comes off as unrehearsed. I am trying my best here, damn it. This one is the most recent event in my life. Happened a couple of months ago now. My friend Joe and I pulled our money together and bought some horses. We decided to keep them on his grandpa's old property. As it was mostly flat land with a pond, it was the perfect place for horses. Every day after work we would meet up and go and feed the horses. One day, we invited our other friend Clint to come feed the horses and drink a few beers with us. And Clint said that we should all go four-wheeling on the mountain trails behind the property. I thought, why not? I haven't been four-wheeling in a while, so we all agreed. We get there, feed the horses, knock back a few beers, and jump on our four-wheelers. We ride around for about 30 minutes, and we see what appears to be an old oil pump or a well. It has derelict equipment all around it. Old tires in a pile, rusty metal barrels, and what I assume was the management building. The management building was very damaged. Half of it was completely destroyed, while the other half still had a good relative structure. We stop our ATVs for a few minutes and just talk about what we see. When we see movement from the management building, a huge thing walks out on 2 legs, very hairy, very tall, very muscular but also lanky. I say, guys, get the fuck out of here, go. And we all start up our four-wheelers and gun it back down the mountain trail. Now, this mountain trail is pretty straight and pretty level, so we are able to pick up tons of speed. I look back, and this thing is running at us, almost able to catch up. I go as fast as my machine allows me, and so do my friends after they look back and see the thing. We get almost to the end of the trail, and I look back. We lost it. We made it back to the truck, got off our four-wheelers, got in the truck, and started the thing up. Then something landed in the truck bed, lifting the entire front end up for a second. I look back, and this thing had wings, eyes as red as blood, and claws about 8 inches in length. It starts hammer fisting the roof, causing a pretty major dent, and I gun it. We are driving down the road and this thing is just pounding on the roof endlessly, again and again and again. We get to a covered bridge and it knocks the thing off, thankfully. But the thing takes flight and it keeps on chasing us down the road. So I decide to drive to the police station a little while up the road. My thinking was just get somewhere with lots of guns and they will be able to help us drive this thing back. I drive as fast as I possibly can, and as soon as I get within sight of the town, the thing takes a U-turn and flies back towards its nest or whatever the thing was. I reported this cryptid sighting to the police, although I don't think they really believed me, and we never really got any answers on what that thing was. I guess bears can just fly now.